Why don't you lead us?
All right. Hello, everyone. Again, thank you for being here. My name is Daniela Serna. I am with Open Signal. I am the facilitator on this side of this project, and I use she or they pronouns.
Awesome. Should we do like a particular, maybe fun question as a way to sort of like know who's in the room with us?
I love that. Yes. I think you have fun ideas, so I'll let you pick the fun question.
What are folks planning to do this longer weekend? Maybe for not for all, but for some. Especially now that the weather's starting to finally get warm here in Portland. Um, yeah, summer plans. I'm always interested to hear what people are doing for summer. What are you doing, Daniela, before we move on from you?
I am chillaxing and I'm hoping to grill and perhaps enjoy the sunshine with friends.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'll go next. Hi, all. My name is Salvador. I work at the Regional Arts and Culture Council. I use he, him pronouns. I have a friend's birthday happening on Sunday, and we're going to do like a barbecue for them. And that I'm excited because it'll be the first time I've done a barbecue this summer. So, well, sometimes it's easier just to call someone because we're all in virtual space and who knows who's next to who. So I will call, let's see, Jerome.
Hi, my name is Jerome Sloan. I'm an artist from Portland. I use he, him pronouns. And this weekend, my son is going to take me, and a friend of mine is going to take me miniature golfing, which I've never did. So that'll be a good experience, hopefully.
Nice. Is there anyone you want to pass it to, Jerome?
I'm new to Zoom, so I really don't know who I can see. I can only see you right now.
Oh,
So
okay.
I don't know. I don't want to leave anybody out. It's probably better if somebody else picks somebody because I can only see you right now. So
Okay, no problem. Well, I'll call Jessica.
Hi, everyone. I might be in and out because I'm actually in India right now. So my kids are getting ready for school. So we have no long weekend and summer just ended for us. But we did, for this weekend, we did an operation 2 days ago, saving a mama and her 7 kittens from an abusive breeder situation. So we are doing this kind of stuff this week. And I know some of you, hi, Daniela. Yeah, so we are working on weaning and litter box training and a full house, yeah. But yeah, I will pass it to Marco.
Hello, can everybody hear me? Hi, my name is Marco, and I live in Portland. Shoot, I forgot what else. Oh, he, him pronouns. This weekend, it's actually my birthday. That's on Sunday, so I don't know yet what I have planned, but probably I just want to hang out with some friends, eat, drink, have a good time, something like that. All right, I'll pass it on to, let's go with David Krug, Productions.
Hi, yeah, I'm David Krug. I'm production services manager, engineering. So I'm making this happen, which is why I had to mute what I'm listening to talk. So we'll let somebody else speak next.
Oh, thanks, David. How about Miss P? Are you there, Miss P? Maybe there's some technical stuff going on. What about Enoch?
Hi, Enoch is my name. I'm from Singapore. It's 9:10 a.m. in the morning. Yeah. I'm new to this group, so I'm just curious.
Welcome, Enoch. Yeah. I was glad to have people from many faraway locations here. So that's really nice. Yeah. Thank you also for being here because the time zones, I'm sure, are not making it easy. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'll just say one more time, Miss P, are you there? Would you want to introduce yourself? Okay. Maybe, yeah. If not, it's okay. Just wanting to get a sense of everyone in the space. And then, if you want to introduce yourself later, that's fine too. But I think we're ready, Daniela. Let's do it.
Yeah, let us move into the presentation.
Cool. Do you want me to share it, Daniela?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and share that if that's okay with you?
Yeah, no problem. Let's see here. Bring it up real quick. Okay. Here we go. Well, thank you all for being here. So the opportunity that we're going to be discussing is Fresh Paint, which is a temporary mural project that's aimed at BIPOC artists here in the Portland metro area. These are just some examples of some of the artists that have come before as part of this program at the bottom there. Let's see here. So yeah, Danielle and I introduced ourselves. We are the two contacts. This is a partnership between our organizations, Regional Arts and Cultural Council, also known as RAC, and then Open Signal. We will both be talking a little bit about our organizations, and then we're going to dive right into what Fresh Paint is, and things like eligibility, selection process, criteria, our responsibilities, how to apply, installation dates, and then we will sort of at the end just do hold space for questions and answers if there are any. And as Daniela said, if you have some while we're going through this, feel free to just drop that in the chat and we'll try to get to it either as we're going through this or at the very end. So I'll start here just with, this is our office in the Pearl for the Regional Arts and Cultural Council. We are a nonprofit. Interestingly, years and years and years ago, we used to be actually part of the City of Portland and Multnomah County's Arts Bureau, which used to be called the Metropolitan Arts Commission. And then in 1995, which is now 27 years ago, we became a nonprofit. And as part of that, what we did is we set up an agreement with both the city and the county to contract right back with them to handle their arts investments. So we also, as part of that, we provide grants to artists and arts organizations. We also manage public art through the Percent for Art Ordinance, which mandates basically that 2% of public capital construction buildings, both for the city and the county, 2% of that goes to artwork. We also convene different networking sessions, professional development opportunities, forums, other kinds of technical assistance. And then we also have been helping out in regards to arts education. And yeah, like many organizations, we advocate for equity, inclusion, and access. These are some of the links at the bottom if you just want to follow us on Instagram. Maybe that's how some of you have already heard of us, or if you want to go to our website, rac.org. This program falls in sort of that public art program, which is what I work in. And that 2% that I mentioned actually funds all of these different programs that we do, which includes temporary art, and like we purchase 2D works that get moved from both county and city office buildings. We've done a number of efforts like Support Beam, which offered artists funding during the pandemic. We've worked with a number of community organizations, including our Black Portland's Matter Art and Placemaking Initiative. And then, of course, we also have this murals program that is one of two entities in the city of Portland that permits murals. And this program just sort of came under that, the murals program. And I'll talk a little bit more about how the Fresh Paint program really came to be.
And as I mentioned before, I'm with Open Signal. The other side of this partnership, Open Signal is a media arts center. We're located in Northeast Portland off of MLK Boulevard. We are, as an organization, have existed in a few different forms: Portland Cable Access, Portland Community Media, and now Open Signal. We are now reaching our 40th anniversary. So we, use our resources to make the media arts, video production accessible to folks in the Portland community. And we do this through media education programs, professional grade equipment library. We have HC television studios and artist residencies. A core part of what we do is the local cable access channels. We have 5 channels, as well as an online network, and most of that is sourced locally. It's all produced here. It's non-commercial. We are very focused on shifting power through resources by supporting storytellers locally, BIPOC storytellers. And we do that through programs like a twice yearly cohort where folks get dedicated facilitation and equipment support to work on their projects. That culminates in a screening. We also do it through Open Signal Labs, which is an incubator for Black filmmakers. And we do this all through support from the City of Portland and the Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission, in addition to support from local foundations, businesses, and other government entities.
So Fresh Paint, as I mentioned earlier, it's a professional development program for emerging artists of color. And it's an opportunity for those emerging artists to represent yourself and also get paid, because we want artists to get paid. That's like super important. Basically started I would say like over the last 7 years, at least since I've been with the organization, had a number of artists come up to me at different points being like, I'd love to paint a mural. Where could I do this? And so it was like, that sort of started the idea of like, okay, how could we like offer some kind of opportunity for artists who want to get their hands on mural making, a mural making experience, and just don't know where to begin or where to start or what wall to do. So then we were having conversations internally at RAC. And then at some point, when Open Signal started to go through its transformation and rebranding, they had expressed interest in having a mural. And so we approached them and said, hey, would you be interested in this sort of like rotating mural idea? And they said yes. And that's really where this program began. And so we're now in its 5th year. It started in 2017. And it was really important to us when we put this together that we wanted to make sure that this was an opportunity, particularly for artists of color. That is something where just realizing in terms of equity, how often underrepresented communities, not having the same kind of access or even the education or even the just knowing systems, and wanting to make sure that this was an opportunity was directly stated. No, this is who we're prioritizing. And then of course, as part of that, making sure that the artists are getting paid for that labor. So yeah.
All right, so let's talk about who's eligible for this program. This program, as we mentioned, is for emerging artists. who identify as a person of color or teams of artists. So this is including but not limited to Native American and Indigenous folks, Latinx, Asian American, Pacific Islander, African American, African, and Middle Eastern. This is a very this program is all about local placemaking. So to be eligible, you must reside in Clackamas, Clark, Multnomah, or Washington counties. And you must also have a consistent visual art practice. And then you must have not created an exterior wall mural in the city of Portland. So, interior murals are fine. So if you've done a mural for a restaurant, that's fine. And murals on non-building infrastructures are fine.
So that would be things like in retaining walls or on fences or stuff like that, or even a shed or someone's backyard. That would be fine. So the process is that we are looking to select either 2 artists or artist teams, and part of that's going to be based on artist teamwork or their past work, I should say. And then also the ability for the artist or artist team to complete the mural. We work with those artists, I should say, whoever's selected, to determine a painting timeline, and then also making sure they have access to the building so they can house their materials. They have ways to access their materials when they're ready to paint. So we work with artists to make sure too that there's an arrangement and a schedule, so that they have what they need in order to do the thing.
All right, so if you are selected, these would be your responsibilities. So there is a design process to kick off your time with us. So you would create the mural design and then paint it as proposed. You are also in charge of purchasing and transporting all of the materials you'll be using. And then we want to ensure that the mural is painted in a timely manner. Once we start this is a conversation. So we will work with you to figure out a schedule that works for you and determine the timeline. Generally, we are looking at a period of about 2 weeks to complete the mural. And then there's the collaborative aspect. So you'll be communicating with me about all the site specific stuff. So, all of the logistics of the materials and using the space. So this is a conversation between all of us.
Yeah. And I'll also just add too, we know that folks have jobs, folks are in school. So if it's one of those things where it's hey, I can't paint until the evenings, or I can only paint on the weekends, we'll work with you with that too. I think for us is that I will say one of the artists we had in our first year, this was their first time painting ever at any scale. And they weren't even a painter. They were an artist that worked in other mediums, and they had very ambitious ideas of what they wanted to do. And it ended up coming out where they were I want to do all these things. And they ended up spending multi-months painting. And so it was one of those things where we're oh, this is really good to know maybe we should scale back, which is actually why we now have that particular wall site, because we used to allow artists to do both walls on around those doors and maybe at the top. And we're no, I think it's better, especially as an emerging artist or someone who's maybe not used to painting at the scale. So that's another reason too. We want to ensure that the mural has time for it to be seen up there for that 6 months. That there's that this seems manageable. So So how you would apply the application materials, which Danielle will talk about here in a minute, you would go through our RAC opportunity portal. For those that haven't gone through it, basically it's an online platform where you would create an account. And then once you have that account created, you would find the opportunity and then just submit your materials through there. You would save after each step. If you have any questions, let us know. This is what the landing page looks like. There's a number there if you need help. You can always reach out to me. I manage the opportunity portal for this call, and we'll work with you to get it through. I would say, like with images, it's really good. I would say nothing bigger than 5 megabytes. And we ask a couple questions on that statement of interest. And so just responding to those questions would be key, which is actually this part right here, Daniela.
So once you've, maybe you've already applied for REC opportunity, or if you haven't, you've created your account through that portal. What do you need to submit? Well, there's 2 things: your statement of interest, and this does not need to be anything super formal. Basically, we are asking you to address your interest in this project and to talk about your experience and past work that demonstrates your ability to complete this mural. If you are applying as part of a team, you would describe the individual roles and how you anticipate working together. This is 3,000 characters or less. So again, this isn't anything too serious. Just let us know why you're interested in this opportunity. Tell us about your practice and how you would anticipate completing the mural. In addition, we ask for 8 images of past work, like Salvador mentioned, no larger than 5 megabytes. And you would provide the title, the media, the dimensions, the year, the location, and then you have the option to include some notes about the conceptual information for each piece.
Yeah. And I think another thing too, I'll just say right out, we have a mural, we have a design phase for this project. So with that being said, please do not submit proposals. We're not asking for it at this point. Another part of that too is we believe that artists should be paid for that labor that goes into proposals. So wait until you've been selected before you do that work and you get paid for it. Don't do it at this stage. What we're really just looking at is the past work that you've done or work that you believe will give us a preview or an idea of maybe what you're thinking about for a design if you get selected. But do not create anything new. Please don't.
Yeah, basically just tell us about yourself, tell us about your work. And it is extremely important to us that for this particular project, you are getting paid for all of the work you're doing towards this project. So just tell us about yourself in that application.
Mm-hmm. The installation dates we have for the murals are 2. So the first artist would be painting between October, or I should say in October, and maybe even late September. But that mural will be up until the end of March of next year. And then the second artist or artist team would come in and paint either at the very end of March or early April. And the mural would be all the way up until the end of September.
All right, we all love deadlines. So the deadline for this is 5 p.m. on Wednesday, July 20th. We really recommend getting started on your application as soon as possible. That gives time to, think through it and ask questions if you need to. But yes, Wednesday, July 20th at 5 p.m.
So what happens after you submit? So there's going to be an artist selection panel that's going to be reviewing the applications. And actually, it will be mainly comprised of past fresh paint artists. So folks that have been in your position, they actually went through this process. They'll be looking at the applications. And what they'll do is they'll do a first round of review, giving their scores. And then we sort of narrow that based on their scores, narrow it down to a second review that will happen for them online in an actual meeting. And then they will make their selections of artists. Once, if you've been selected, we reach out to you to let you know. And then we create a design contract basically for you. And so what that means is that we would pay you $500, have you meet Danielle and I, talk a little bit more about the process, but give you a few weeks in August to basically create a design. Actually, I'm sorry, not in August, because September. You'll be notified though, hopefully by the end of August. But then give you those few weeks in September to work on your design. And then we'll have you present that design to that same selection panel that reviewed the applications for any feedback. And then after that, you, depending on the feedback, you are then off to create your mural either in that October timeline or the April timeline. And you would be paid $2,000 for that. The $2,000 would include the materials. We do have a discount though with Miller Paint, so you can use that. I've had artists that have done really well with materials not being super expensive. And then, yeah, just get them down to the site. I believe OpenSignal has things like ladders. They also have running water if you need to clean your brushes. So you can have access to that. And again, a place for storage. And then we usually, like Daniela said, we usually try to give you a couple of weeks there to paint. Yeah.
So yeah, we are here to help with your application. We are both available for any and all questions about this. Feel free to talk with us. We are here to address your questions, any concerns. Just at any time until the close of the application date. There's our contact info. In particular, if you have questions about the RAC opportunity portal, the materials, and then the project process and timeline, contact Salvador. And if you have any questions about the logistical part of the painting on site, definitely feel free to reach out to me. So yes, our lines are open, and we're here to talk with you through this process.
Mm-hmm. We wanted to just give you also a preview of all the artists that have gone part of this program. Yeah, and so Danielle, I'll let you take it away and I'll go through each of them too. Oh, you're on mute.
It had to happen at least once. Okay, so in the first year, we had 3 artists. There was Molly Mendoza there on the left, Alex Chu in the middle, and then Rob Lewis on the right. Then between 2018 and 2021, we did 1 call and 7 artists were selected. Andrea de la Vega, Damian Dawahar, Bizarre Gomez, Maria Rodriguez, Ankh Gladnick, Munta Mpo, and LeMay Lai.
So this is Molly, Alex, Rob. I'll just be honest, that was the artist that had a lot of ambitions. He was very ambitious. That is Damien and Andrea. This is the trio of Anke, Bizarre, and Maria. This is Muntaz. This is LeMay or May. And then the most recent artists are Jose Ruiz Valentin, who painted last October. And the current one that's up right now by Zainab Saab. And that's it. I'm going to stop sharing. And then, yeah, if there's any questions folks have.
Yeah, I know that was a lot of info, but let us know if you have any questions.
Oh, yeah. I see Jessica's message. For those of us who might not be in town right now, can we apply for just one of the installation dates? I'm in residency till January. Yeah, I would say in the application, just note that, and that will be part of the consideration. Yeah. So thank you, Leticia. And it's totally okay if folks don't have questions right now. If you go down the process and you do, just reach out to us. That's fine as well.
What do you recommend for design wise or going large scale? What is your recommendations for that?
Oh, and when you say that, Jerome, what do you have in mind, or what do you mean exactly?
Well, most of the art that I've done, like I've did murals, I've did several. I don't want to get into my story in this thing right here, but I like to do like really detailed design with it, and goes out into abstract. But is there like a certain criteria you're looking for? Because I've seen a range of different stuff, so I was just making sure like, are you looking for something, or is it just pretty much whatever the artist presents?
That's a great question. Yeah, I mean, and Daniela, chime in here too.
Mm-hmm.
I would say at this point, we really are letting the artists kind of create what they want. Yeah, we don't have themes. We sort of did when we first started, which was around like open signal services. So like themes around like, technology or, media, even like access or maybe to youth. But we really have just allowed artists to like whatever they're thinking, do it. And I think that's part of what makes this an interesting program is, yeah, we're really giving that experimentation, letting artists just like do the thing. I will say the only criteria that we do come up with is like just in terms of like any kind of public art in general. So like it can't be, can't use like vulgar texts, right? Or it can't be nudity or also like hateful symbols or imagery, right? Like stuff like that. But outside of that, there's a lot of leeway to just do what you want. But we'll also talk to you about that too. That will be part of the conversations we'll have as you create the design and then before you present to the panel. So.
Yeah, that is definitely part of the beginning stages of after you're selected. So as part of that, like the feasibility of your design being something that you would be able to paint in the matter of a couple of weeks is something that we do talk about. And one of the benefits of having this panel of past muralists who are helping out with the design part of it is that they are able to be there and give you advice about, well, this may be too intricate or things like that. So that is a conversation that happens. But as far as any criteria, anything we're looking for, this is an opportunity for your expression. And we don't have guidelines around that. The only thing that we would have a conversation about is just making sure that it is something that you're able to do with support, of course, in that kind of window so that your work can be up for as long as possible.
Yeah, that's a great point. And just to that, like, if like say for Jerome, if your work is super detailed, then obviously when scaling up, maybe it might be nice to think about how you might be able to like simplify some of those details, right? Because it's how much labor, right, you want to put into the actual painting of it within that timeline. So things like that. But I would also say too, you know, like what we have noticed is that a lot of artists, which is really beautiful, is that they are either seeking the help out of a mentor or a community, so that when they get to the wall, they have support also to accomplish their vision, especially as their first time. So I would say to you all, if you know, if that's something you want to either put into the application or just be thinking about like, oh yeah, I've already got the help of like maybe this friend or this person, or that's fine too. Because that can really help, right? A lot, get the work done. And I've just noticed that a lot of people are sort of doing that when they're applying to this program, especially because this is the first time. They really want that support. And in terms of just like I think one of the images that we showed was the one with Jose, who had the Virgin Mary. You know, there was a conversation about that because it's religious, right? And like, oh, how will this land for folks that are not Catholic or, you know, Christian? And part of that conversation, and this is where Danielle said it'll be a conversation, is, you know, Jose is also Mexican American, and growing up, La Virgen de Guadalupe, which is the image, that's part of the Mexican identity for many folks, including himself. And so when we were talking about that, it was like, okay, this is like a reflection of not just a religious symbol, but rather cultural iconography. And when thinking about it like that, it's like, that makes absolute sense that should be there. That's part of your experience. So, you know, those are those things that we would get into. We would have those kind of conversations. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just add, like, you know, in thinking about Jose's mural, that was a conversation that we had, but I think it really illustrated like how amazing this project is and how like important it is for folks to bring their own perspectives. Because when I did have that conversation with folks at Open Signal, it really brought out like, you know, folks who had a similar experience or had their own connotations of that imagery, right? That was really great because it was like this was coming from Jose's, you know, perspective and background, but it really resonated with a lot of folks. So yeah, just you know, have fun with it. You know, do your thing.
Any other questions folks have on their mind?
I just had a question about, I put it in the text. It's just about, say we get chosen and we've not done a mural before. Would we be trained on maybe like how to safely use certain, I put it in like, I don't know what they're called, but those like lifts. I don't know if you use those or you just use tall ladders or things like that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Well, so it's a one-story building and the mural's at the ground level. So you wouldn't have to use any lifts for it. So there's that. And so then most artists, it's about 9 feet high. So in order to get to that, like, you know, top 3 or 4 feet, they just use a ladder that Open Signal usually has on hand. And that's sufficient. Yeah.
Yeah, and if this is your first time and you are looking for more support, Salvador mentioned, if you have folks in your community to call on, we definitely welcome that. This is you applying as an artist, but you're certainly welcome to bring folks with you as support to help you paint, to help you figure it out. But also, if you're looking for a little bit more support, we have this past roster of artists who've taken part of this, who we can connect you with to, you know, get pointers, to get some perspective from someone who did it for the first time, and, you know, get help figuring all of that out, all of the logistics. We've seen some really great moments where folks have given some tips that have helped out a lot. So we're very open to that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. If it like comes to matter of like maybe what kind of materials to use, or how do you transfer that image, right, to large scale, like either through gridding or through I just learned recent lazy doodle process, like whatever the case may be, like we can connect you to folks who can talk to you about that. Yeah. Any other questions? It's great hearing from y'all. I know it's a small group, but it's really wonderful. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, again, just if anything pops up when you're applying, please feel free to reach out to us.
Will all that information be on the RACC website or the Open Signal website, all the stuff in the presentation?
Yeah, it should be in the call that went out, and that's both on both our websites. Yeah. Well, thank you all. We'll let you go. Enjoy the rest of your time.
Yes, thank you for
Appreciate you
taking
being
the
here.
time.